This is called product placement, Matt, if you didn't know.
I'm gonna learn a lot today. I know this.
There's no coffee.
Does the shirt look too big on me? I literally was last night putting on high heat in the dryer, like trying to get this thing to shrink.
It's funny because that's what you do. You start to analyze. You're like,
You figure out, yeah.
Where my hands are. Good morning, Talking Construction, episode 4, TruNORTH Construction. We're here with Matt from EHL Kitchens, special guest. We got a better looking version of Matt this instead of Matt Powers, so we've upgraded the podcast already. So wanted to welcome you.
Thanks for having me.
We've been working with Matt and EHL for probably about 10, 15 years in that range. They've been doing all our cabinetry, whether it was office condos, residential, remodeling new homes. And why we love working with them is they're just great to work with, good people, but their quality is amazing. Their installers are great. Everyone's really great at the company. And they offer my clients so many different options in terms of a box cabinet, but most of the time we're doing a kind of a custom line.
At this point, yeah.
At this point, we're going to talk about that. But it gives the clients a really good option for picking their own colors, picking their own door styles. And when Matt makes them in-house, they can be a little more creative. They're not restricted to 3-inch increments. He has the ability to kind of design to fit the space better. So I'll let you kind of tell us a little bit about your business, and we can go from there.
Yeah, so EHL, I mean, we've been around since 1965. The owner's father is the one who started it right now, so going on with the family generation. But, I mean, the biggest thing that we focus on, customer service. I mean, it's hand in hand. We talk almost every day. We're in constant communication.
Yeah.
We always want to make the client first, you know, because they're going to tell a friend, and that'll just, it keeps feeding on. We do so many jobs that know someone that just keeps passing the word along. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Word of mouth is huge.
Yeah, and we know if you make people, you know, you piss people off, they're going to tell 10 more people not to use you. Yep. So I think that's the biggest thing too. And then the ability to service our product, you know, not just customer service with the client, but the product. Because a lot of companies that are dealing with stock cabinets, you're dealing with a manufacturer probably not even in your state, somewhere far away. And you know, you're going through many phone calls to try to get a hold of people, where we're direct to the factory.
And you're local.
And we're local, yeah.
And you're in Glastonbury, right?
Right in Glastonbury, yeah. So right on Commerce Street. So during installation, we know no house is perfect. You always need extra materials. You know, something might not be right. Something might get dinged, you know. And then we can take it back to the shop. We can finish it. Right. We can bring it back to the job site, keep the job going, hit, you know, our deadlines, because we know, you know, people don't like being out of the job longer than it should be. So it's little things like that, like just dealing with stock cabinets that we've done. You know, anything's 2 weeks to get, so it takes longer. Then you got to explain to the client, you know, kind of what you're doing and why you're waiting. So that, I think, is a big thing. And the customization, at the end of the day, I think separates us from the rest. Because like you said, we're designing to the 1/8 of an inch. Any Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams, literally any paint color matching. Not many places offer that, so I think that gives us an edge, especially nowadays. There's so many options, everything, tile, flooring, everything, hardware. I mean, just that alone is probably one of the hardest decisions for our clients.
I think just being able to pick out your own color is huge, because you can change the way you know, you can do different colors. And I mean, not, you know, if you're going to pick a box line, you're stuck to these certain colors.
Exactly.
And you guys can do any color, and it's all sprayed right in house, so it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and we're always trying to be 3 steps ahead. We make color samples, we have them get approved, making sure we're always ahead of the game, so it doesn't come back to bite us, you know, because you can never assume anything. Even sometimes you look at a little swatch in the Benjamin Moore, you know,
paint samples.
Yeah, paint samples, and then we spray it. It might look a little different. It might not be exactly what you want. So we go back, we try it again, we make another color. We do something to tweak it where you're now able to start matching other things. You know, when you're only limited to a color, then you got to kind of stick with that and work backwards from that. Where, you know, you can pick your granite first, you can pick your wall colors, your floors, tile, whatever you find that you just love, we can work backwards to make it work too.
Yep, absolutely. Well, and one of the other things I really loved about what you guys offer is I can bring my clients in, and we can sit and you do this whole presentation, on 3D on a computer. It helps people, especially a lot of people just can't visually see stuff on a plan, and so when they can see it in 3D, you walk them through all the different views. I think that's a huge benefit to having the customer feel it's a great experience. You know what I mean? And maybe that's a huge piece because people feel like you're going in and you're showing them a custom cabinet and custom layout, and then they can sit there with you directly and give you feedback.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't like this. I want to change this, and it's a great tool for our customers.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the things that's helped us grow so much lately, because when I started there, I was building them in the shop, and all the drawings were hand drawn. There was not much detail to give to the client to show them truly what they're getting.
Right.
So a lot of people are kind of hesitant because you don't know, and I always said, like, I don't know how we sold anything without this.
The 3D.
Yeah, without the 3Ds, just because, again, trying to be 3 steps ahead, making sure you get everything, your I's dotted, T's crossed before you go into production with it. So I think that's a home run for us, and just with technology too, it's only going to get better. So I think it's just going to help, and again, with all the options, you don't know unless you can see it.
Right.
I mean, there's very few of our clients that are like, oh yeah, I know that exactly what that's going to look like, or that's going to do that.
Very few people can see it.
Me and you could see it.
Yeah.
And we know some of the headaches that go with some of the options, and with the crown molding, stuff like that we get into matching. But
going and buying a cabinet, a box cabinet, or a Lowe's like a type of store versus what you guys are building, and what are the differences and what are the benefits and stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, we talked about this earlier. The biggest thing with the designing of it is it's to the 1/8 of an inch. So every width of the cabinet is going to be full custom to fit your space. That's, I think, another thing. We're always fitting it to the space. We start from scratch on every job we do.
Versus the boxes are only in 3 inches.
Yeah, you're ordering 3-inch increment cabinets, 12, 15, 18-inch cabinets, and then you're kind of putting those and filling in the space. So it's almost like doing a puzzle.
Right. So if you had an extra 2.5 inches, you would have to put a filler, and with their cabinets, you could actually make that cabinet 2.5 inches bigger.
Exactly. And really, the only time we're using fillers is butting walls for scribing purposes,
or for a door to hit.
Yeah, clearing hardware, clearing doors, stuff like that to hit. Otherwise, everything, and it makes it nice when you're trying to center something, because when that's where the fillers, I think, come in. If you're trying to make something centered and balanced, you just extend or shrink the cabinet to fit in between the space, which I think is good too.
That's a huge benefit.
The way we make our cabinets, whether it's going to be a frameless, framed, or inset, the box construction is pretty much the same. Or we can even take these out. And you're going to, it's going to be a frameless cabinet. If we do a framed cabinet or an inset, we pretty much just apply the frame over the top of this construction method.
You want to see it from this side? Does that help you with?
Yeah, it could help with just kind of seeing the interior and the guts of it, because most cabinet places, they're not going to show you this.
Yeah.
They're going to make it look pretty on the outside and kind of not truly, show you what might be in the inside. The box is always made of 3/4 plywood. It's all birch veneered.
When you say box, you're talking about this part.
Yeah, the sides of the box, the bottoms, the aprons, all the adjustable shelves or fixed shelves are all 3/4 plywood. The applied toe kicks we put on the cabinets are 3/4 plywood as well. The backs, we use a 1/2 inch plywood, but if you can see, it's in a dado that wraps around 3/8 and it kind of goes around the whole box, so the whole back is captured in that.
Versus, so tell me what the difference is. Like, so a box cabinet that you're buying at Home Depot or anything is the different thicknesses?
Yeah, you're gonna get not as thick on whether it's plywood or particle board, depending on what the company uses, but a lot of the times they'll put a face frame on the cabinet, and that's pretty much the only support and structure, and they'll just tack on a back to fill in the void.
And that's usually particle board.
Yeah, exactly. And the captured back with the 1/2 inch plywood is nice because that's almost acting as the frame to give you your structure, and it also allows you to get more access on the face of the cabinet, which I think is nice too.
Versus having a whole.
Yeah, any frames that will void the inside. So the other nice thing too is all of the drawer slides are mounted to the side of the cabinet. So if you're in a frame and you got to fill in the drawer tracks inside of the frame, you need some sort of clip or something that holds onto the back.
Gotcha.
And the drawer is kind of sliding a little bit more, where this is, you know, screwed right into the side.
Right.
So it gives you just better quality over time, I think.
Yeah, and then so like the drawers, I mean, everyone's doing the soft glide drawers now. That's kind of standard, right?
Yeah. Soft close is pretty much the standard, I think now. We use Bloom hardware. It's pretty much the top of the line. It's lifetime warranted, so if anything faults with it, they'll replace it. We'll replace it, go out. So with the hinges or the drawer slides, we're pretty much doing all concealed hinges, so you're not gonna see the hinges from the outside. Every once in a while, we'll have a client that kind of likes the look of it, so we can always do it as an applied or something fake that doesn't actually work, but it's more just a visual.
Yep.
But even with the inset, I know that's not as popular right now, but we'll do concealed with the inset, which I think is nice with just the cleaner line look that's kind of in right now.
Yep.
You know.
So tell me about the differences in the boxes, like the actual drawers construction versus like a box versus a custom that you guys do.
Yeah. So we use 5/8 thick maple sides. They're all dovetail boxes. You know, a lot of companies now, they'll do the dovetails, but they might go half-inch.
Dovetail is just how they're connected.
Exactly. It's just the joints together that pretty much hold this in over time. And the bottoms are 3/8, where I think 1/4 is usually the standard. So
for a box cabinet.
Yeah, so we go a little bit thicker there. Just at the end of the day, when you're talking cost per job, it's just so worth it to go that extra bit, because you don't want to do this project
Well, and
twice.
stuff like, especially stuff like drawers that you're constantly moving and pulling, if you got inferior products, or you know, they're trying to save money on the bottoms or the sides, that eventually is going to catch up to you, where you're gonna, because you're moving it so much that then ultimately it's going to potentially break out. Or
Yeah, absolutely. And the just the weight, you know, trying to stuff everything in, you know, fit in.
Right, so you're not doing this.
Yeah, so it just holds it up a little bit better. And then the drawer tracks too, I mean, they're rated for, I think, like 100 pounds, so they can take a lot. Because you know, everyone's kind of worried, oh, will all my pots and pans, you know, fit in this deep drawer, will it bow, anything like that. But no, it'll pretty much, as long as you're not filling the whole thing with like cast
Is that a new trend kind of you're starting to see, with more less doors on the bottom of cabinets and more drawers, bigger drawers people can put pots in? Is that something that's kind of more of a trend?
It's definitely more, and it's funny because sometimes you got to kind of talk people into it because they're so used to one way.
Right.
But I think it's definitely the way to go. Most people kind of give into it. We do have, you know, in the showroom, stuff people can see and feel. I think that helps, because then you can kind of get sold into it that way. It's
more accessible. I mean, I went to the drawers too, the two drawers, and I can put all my pots and pans in just overhead, and you can pull it all the way up, versus having to get down and try to find stuff in the back, and then you can never, you put something back there, you can never find it, and then you got to pull all this other stuff out. I think the drawers are such an easier way to access the cabinets.
Yep. And I would say it's one step. Just opening the drawer. You're not opening a door, then trying to do a pull out or going in.
Right.
Open the drawer. It's right there for you.
Visually too, it's right in front of you versus having to look underneath.
Yeah, really the only time I say is if and the nice thing about us, I mean, you could customize it to a certain pot that you have that you always use, and if it's a certain height, we might need to make the drawer a little bigger, which is no problem.
And that's something different than a box line, because box lines, you're going to be stuck to whatever this.
You're stuck to what you're there. And then some of the box lines, I guess they consider them semi-custom, where you can customize some of those options, and then they'll charge you an arm and a leg for it. You know, where us, it's just that's what you want. All right, that's just part of. There's not an add-on for something like that you know, going out of the box.
Yeah, because we're doing a couple wine bars, and we had talked about making sure that the taller bottles can fit in versus having to put them underneath. And so that's another benefit of custom line versus a box line.
Yeah, they'll get me the measurements, and I say, all right, we're gonna make sure this box is this deep, this will fit, this is what you kind of have left over for above it.
So talk to me about the differences between your custom lines, because I know you have like an MDF line. We can talk about the doors. And then, you know, obviously you can go inset, so they can that people get afraid of custom.
Sure.
You know, instantly afraid, hey, custom's going to be so much more expensive, but you guys have an incredible line that actually is very competitive with the box cabinet, and you still have the ability to customize the paint and the look and the sizing, right?
Yeah, so I guess just start with the inset cabinet. That's going to be the most priced cabinet for sure. I mean,
tell me, let's show the difference. See if we don't have.
So I don't have an inset here, but pretty much, again, the construction, the whole box is made the same, but we'll put a face frame on the face of it, and then the doors and drawers actually sit flush inside of the frame.
Inside the frame, right?
Inside of the frame, yeah.
Versus this is on the outside.
This sits overlay the box. They call us a frameless full overlay cabinet. This is pretty much what we do the most of. It comes in at the best cost, and you see you're getting the same quality.
Right.
Just the inset is more of a look. Some people are keened on the look, and we do a beautiful
They're beautiful.
inset. Yeah,
They are.
And the nice thing about our inset that is totally different than every stock company is it's all gained cabinetry. So all the straight runs, it's all one piece.
Right.
It's not individual boxes that are screwed together.
Where you're gonna see seams.
You see the seams on all the frames, and
that's another benefit, custom versus.
yeah, and we try to do bump outs and give us some depth, so we don't need to make these cabinets so long.
Right.
It's hard for delivery for the installers to scribe them to floors and to the walls and stuff, but
It eliminates the seams. You lose all these when you do that way.
yeah, and you're gonna give a little bit more cabinet space, because when you're dealing with the box cabinets, the frame is the same. So you're butting two
Right.
sides of the frame, where this is just
Yeah, so
one
you're
style.
you're losing
It's an extra style.
3/4 of an inch when you got to butt another.
Yeah, and you're butting the frame to another frame, where
If you
instead
do
of just one.
6 or 7 cabinets, now you're really losing almost 6 or 7 inches of the
Yeah.
actual cabinet
On
space.
top of the inset, you're already losing some space.
Another benefit of custom over.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the the different levels. I know we have some
Yeah. So with
drawers on here.
the different options that we have, it's just a paint grade option. So it's only for a painted cabinet, which right now is pretty much what's in.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is stain coming back? Is paint still in?
It's funny. I'm actually getting some more stain work. I actually got some jobs in the shop right now that are stained. I'm a wood guy too. I love the wood
see the
stain.
woods and the grains
Yeah,
and stuff.
but it's all paint. Whatever you see on TV, whatever you see online, everyone's doing paint. Whether it's blue, gray, white. Some of the grays, blues, I think are a little trendy, but
White tends to be a
timeless.
traditional last forever. I mean, I think a painted cabinet generally will kind of transcend time versus a stain, because I feel like the stain comes and goes. I mean,
Absolutely.
back in the day when I lived in a house, we used to have stained
Everywhere.
stained casings and all that, and you never see that anymore.
No, yeah. So I think with the paint, it's always going to be there. It might not be as much as it is
Right,
now,
so
but
maybe it'll come
always
back
be
a
there.
little bit with the staining.
Yeah, but so what we do to try to get our clients into multiple price points, because we don't want to lose work. Even if it's not the biggest job, we don't care. We'll take any work.
Yep.
We always say it's a seed planted. That's someone that could refer you. That's someone that could help you down the road, give you more business. So you never know. So we don't want to lose any work. And the other thing with you too. I mean, I know you use us for your cabinetry, but I want to make sure that your clients got some options too, because you not necessarily you'll lose the job, but they might not be able to afford us.
Absolutely.
If we're just too high. So
Yeah.
then it kind of puts you in a standstill where you might have to use someone else because you're trying to get the job,
Right.
which is understandable. So we kind of started this new line about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years ago, that kind of eliminated that.
It dropped to your custom now is very competitive with the box. cabinet.
Exactly, and you're still
But
getting.
still all the benefits of having a custom line.
So the whole box that we just saw is exactly the same. Nothing changes
No,
with that box.
construction's
The
the
only
same.
difference is the doors and drawer fronts and the drawer boxes. None of the moldings, anything like that. That's all solid wood. But what we do is, so if we're talking with our classic, which is a little bit higher price line, all the door construction for a painted cabinet only. So the door's made of 5 pieces essentially. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then
Yep.
5. The border of the door is maple. It's gonna be maple solid wood. It's gonna paint the best. It's solid. It's gonna take the hinges, do all that. It's a good wood. But we use an MDF center panel, medium density fiber board. The reason is when you're dealing with wood, it's natural. It's gonna move. It's gonna expand. It's gonna contract.
With humidity in the
Yeah,
house.
if you don't have AC in your house, the summertime, your doors are gonna swell up because there's so much moisture in there. They're gonna dry out.
In the winter.
In the winter, and it's like, I don't know, if it just like, I know in my house some of the doors will stick, when it gets too hot and humid. It's just the nature of wood.
I mean, you see it in crown molding all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see it. It'll be perfect, and then it'll open up in the winter because it's drying out, and then that caulk line will go back in the summer.
Yeah, and that's just something that needs to be explained, and that's what we do. I always try to educate the
So
client.
you do this because this will not expand.
This won't expand like the wood does, so it helps kind of keep the painted cabinet intact better over time.
Right.
Like a lot of people will see this and be like, oh, it's not wood, I don't know. We could do it wood. We offer that if you want it. We just highly don't recommend it because we know, we've seen it. It's just gonna move your doors. There's gonna be more cracks, more joints.
You're gonna have more seams.
Yeah, your door either way is gonna have seams where it's jointed. It's gonna happen.
It's moving.
Yeah, whether it's the first week you get the cabinets, whether it happens in our shop, whether it's 6 months down the road, it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time. But
you explain that to people. You set their expectations.
absolutely, it's the first thing I explain with a painted cabinet because it's gonna happen. But it's the nature of it. You look at the cabinets, that's what it is. But we do a conversion varnish finish. It's on all of our cabinets. It's pretty high-end
So
standard
even
cab line.
unpainted, you're adding a varnish over the top, so it's almost like a clear protective seal.
Yeah, it's actually mixed in with the paint,
Oh,
so
it
it's
is?
like a hardener that mixed into the paint, so
Okay.
it gives it a really hard and durable finish. But again, your joints are still going to happen. So what we veered into with the other cabinet line is doing a full MDF door. You know, we call it a seamless line. Because what it is it's just a piece of MDF that we router in the door paneling to, you know, whatever you want. And with that, there's no pieces, it's just one piece. So
Right.
you're not going to
No
get any
seams.
seams. It paints the same way. Obviously, we're using it in the center there. But it's a lot cheaper, you know, for labor.
Yeah, so
And
now
for-
your this custom line is actually this is the one that's more competitive with the box cabinet.
Exactly.
from Home
Yeah.
Depot.
Yeah. It's just, and the main thing is material cost and shop time. It's just not as much labor. It's a little bit more machining. It's a little more prep in the finish.
Yep.
But the materials isn't anywhere near what it takes to make a door like
Sure.
this.
But it
so-
still allows you the ability to pick your colors, pick your sizes.
Any color,
Yeah.
any size, it's custom to fit your space.
Yeah.
When the jobs go onto the shop, they go onto the CNC machine to your house.
Yeah.
You know, nothing is made beforehand.
I mean, we're doing a ton of this. I mean, we've done a ton
It's
of
perfect, you know, because there's benefits to it too. You're not going to get the cracking. What I find a ton of is you get water damage at the sink at the top of your doors. Where these joints open and close over time and water sits, then it's just gonna peel the paint, it's gonna, you know, kind of warp into the door where
this.
there's gonna be no cracking. Granted, you don't want water sitting on any door,
Right.
but the water's got nowhere to go with this. When
Right.
you have the conversion varnish finish, it helps put a good coating on
Say
it.
that 10 times.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me about where trends are going. Like, is the raised panel, you know, this was something that was popular back then. This is starting to get more, this is kind of the mainstream right now. You do have some options to add some a little bit of decorative trim, so it's not so sleek and simple. Is this where people are still kind of picking right now, or is this coming back a little bit?
No, I'm definitely seeing more of this.
This?
I think that's kind of what it is. It's what you're seeing on TV.
And what's the style called?
They call it a shaker style.
Shaker style,
Yeah,
right.
they call it a shaker style. Like you said, there's little bead options, little
You can add a
extra
little piece of
details.
trim in here to add a little detail.
Yeah, little extra details that we can do to kind of dress it up to maybe not make it as simple. But I think, you know, when you pick the hardware, bring in the colors and stuff, you can get a different look
Yeah.
just based on that. Not even necessarily the door style, but for what it is, I think it's a pretty timeless look. But you know, this I definitely see a little more trendy just with so much going on. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
You went-
I did this cabinet in 2008, so that cabinet's, if I can add right, it's 11 years old.
yeah,
I mean, so that's still
Exactly.
active.
yeah.
So,
So
I know you can't see that, but so
it's a shaker.
how about granites and marbles and corian? I mean, not corian anymore, really. This-
Yeah, no.
But tell what's kind of the quartz is obviously the hot button. I always tell people it goes quartz, granite. Quartz being the most expensive.
Yeah.
Is that those two, granite and quartz, are the main?
Pretty much. I mean, we're doing some marbles and quartz sites, which that's pretty much, you know, someone falls in love with it. They're like, I want that. They'll go with that. Granite is going to be the best bang for your buck.
Granite's a natural stone, right? So quartz.
Yeah, granite's natural. You know, a quartz site, that's natural. Marble, natural. Quartz, though, is man-made. They base them off of quartz sites.
Yep.
You know, that they're kind of giving
The
that
looks.
feel. Yeah, but they're more consistent. You know, nowadays, I mean, there's so much out there. There's so many different products. They've mastered all the different looks and stuff. But I think the big thing, too, is, yes, you don't have to seal it, you don't have to worry about it that
Quartz
much.
versus granite.
Quartz,
Granite you
yeah.
have to seal once a year. Quartz
Yeah,
you
they
don't.
say you should seal at least once a year, and with granites, certain granites are more porous than others, but, as long as you seal it maybe once a year, there's so many people that don't even touch it,
Yeah.
and they usually don't have issues, but you would never want to
It would be the
something.
wine, the red wine would be the one that would stain it. That's
Yeah.
the stuff we gotta watch.
Marbles, quartzites, those are softer, more porous. Those are more likely to, etch and be
But the
porous.
quartz is,
Quartz is good, yeah, but they say you can't put anything, I think it's over like
The
350
heatness
degrees,
changes,
the heat, where,
granite you could put a hot stove.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't recommend any of that, just
No,
because you don't
you don't
know, it could crack, it could do whatever, but I always say find the piece you like looking at.
Yeah.
Go with
Right.
the piece you like looking at, it's gonna be, usually it's a pretty big statement in the room.
Yep.
And if it happens to be not as good of a quality product, we'll have, you'll sign a disclaimer and they kind of just explain to you what could happen, what might happen. And some people are okay with that,
Right.
and they just love the piece and that's what they'll go with.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming out. This
Yeah,
is
no, thanks for having me. This is
Hopefully
great.
everyone got some education. I know I always do when I talk to you, so
Cool.
we appreciate
Awesome.
EHL. Thank you very much
Yeah,
for being
thanks,
here.
Jeff.
Thank you.